So I just watched the Nemesis Part 2, and the Beast Wars are over. For now. Also known as, well, the final episode. The Nemesis has risen. It is fully powered and in Megatron's control. And, yeah, the Maximals are screwed. This is a very one-sided situation they have got to fight up from. And, oh boy. So, when the episode begins with Megatron quoting Bible verses, you know things are serious. Yeah, the I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, that's out of the Bible. And the fact that it's also in the Covenant of Primus is a little bit odd. But it does make for a very strong opening section for the episode, and just kind of let you know, like, the gravity of the situation going on here, as well as Megatron's megalomania at its absolute height. At one point in this episode, he literally talks about his impending godhood. That's a little much, I think. He's gonna wipe out the Ark, change the timeline, and suddenly he thinks he's the next Primus. All right, fine. So, the overall implication in the show is that Decepticon tech is apparently far stronger in physical construction and firepower than Maximal and Predacon tech. Now, obviously, everything's way bigger because it's designed for, full-size Transformers, not Maximals and Predacons. But also, yeah, it kind of makes sense, because if the Autobots won, of course, they would de-escalate the weaponry, especially once they made the whole Maximal conversion and everyone downsized. I could see that being, I could see why, like everything is so much more powerful on a Decepticon ship than it would be a Predacon ship. So it kind of makes sense why this would be such a huge threat and why the Maximals literally have nothing to fight this with. Alright, so there's a bunch going on in this. There's a lot going on in this episode. We'll finish this off. Let's wrap up things in as quick an order as we can. So the shortest one to wrap up is Inferno and Quick Strike are attacking the human colony, the proto-human colony, and the one with Dinobot's hammer appears, which actually kind of sparks something in Dinobot 2 when he sees him on the screen. But it does mean that they are with the same tribe that Megatron attacked originally that would have wiped out humanity. So, okay, now there's higher stakes to that whole scene. However, it kind of gets cut short because Megatron just blasts the entire thing, Quick Strike and Inferno included, to the horror of Dinobot 2. So we're starting to see where the original Dinobot is starting to have a lot more influence in him. Now, it does raise the drama to know, like, oh, this is that tribe. This is the same tribe that Dinobot saved. It does connect back pretty well. Kicks off a few flashbacks. But it's... And I don't know. Like, I'm never a fan of the anthropoid episodes, but you know what? Like, it's an important factor. So I'm glad they touched on it again. I'm glad Megatron took one more attempt to wipe out humanity. See. But that is part of, like, Dinobot's transformation in this episode, which is a really nice little backside story to the whole thing, where we can see where he's getting more belligerent, he's getting more reluctant to follow Megatron's orders, he's starting to feel more remorse for exactly what they are doing, and acting a little bit more like the original Dinobot. He's talking about, like, there's no sport in this battle, so he's the one who provides the Maximals with a way of fighting back. And by the end of the episode, he is essentially just back to standard Dinobot, just in time to get killed again. Like, if that was like a last-minute face turn, we could have had Dinobot come back. I thought, with everyone else, I thought that would have been great. I would have really liked that, actually. That would have been really fun. But no, he seemed like he had time at the end to get out of the explosion too. I don't know why he just got to stay behind. I don't know. It was a fun story. I don't like the ending of it, but I do think it was a really cool way of twisting Dinobot 2 around into something a little bit more familiar, but also like making it a little bit more interesting than just like brutal weaponry. Let's see. We also have to talk about Tigerhawk. So remember, Tigerhawk's whole thing was Hasbro originally was going to make the toy, so they planned for him in the show. Then they canceled the toy and told Mainframe, if you're going to use the character, you got to kill him off quickly. So they established that whole thing. They set him in the plot. They started writing and recording. And then Hasbro went, no, wait. We are making the toy. So now a character exists for technically only 3 episodes. And he gets killed off here by a point-blank shot from the Nemesis, which does feel very forced. Like, Tigerhawk can fly, should be able to fly a lot faster than that cannon can adjust. But instead of trying to dodge the blast and then firing his lightning bolts or whatever, no, Tigerhawk just kind of stands there and tanks it Dragon Ball Z style and loses. So for as overpowered as he was, considering he was able to destroy the Predacons ship just by his landing impact alone, but he can't just dodge out of the way of a cannon blast to save his own life and put up a better fight, that's a bit much. I understand why. It just doesn't feel right in the episode. Let's see, what else can I talk about here? Because there's plenty to talk about. The Maximal side of this is basically just kind of scrambling to either try to move the Ark or find some way of defending themselves. And on the ground side, it is completely helpless. Like, they are trying everything they can to get the Ark flying again so they can get it out of Megatron's reach. And now, if you don't know, that's the original plan for the episode. It was supposed to be the Ark takes off, the Nemesis and the Ark can do battle, above Earth, and they're actually going to deploy the Coneheads from the Nemesis in order to do battle with the Ark and the Maximals. They didn't get to do that because there wasn't nearly enough budget to pull that off. But it was their cheeky way of explaining why the Coneheads didn't wake up along with the rest of the Seekers in 1984. I'm like, okay, that's actually kind of clever. That's actually good world usage. Didn't get to do it. Would have been cool. Oh well. But like I said, Dinobot does provide the means of defense. Oh, I should point out, like, there's a lot of great bits that go on in the Autobot ship in the Ark this whole time. We get to find out Rat Trap has been collecting Waspinator parts, and me and a friend who watched this together said at the same time, "Do you think he's got enough parts to just build a new Waspinator?" Because that would be cool. That would be fun. That would be funny. I was talking last episode about a potential Maximal Waspinator. Maybe Rat Trap just built one. The other part is they're trying to get the ship online, despite a tractor beam going off, and I thought that was a great idea because the fusion cannon takes time to charge, which is an artificial way of building tension between every shot, obviously. But in the meantime, Megatron employed the tractor beam on the Nemesis, which I thought was a great way of pulling this out a little bit and giving a little bit of variety to Megatron's arsenal in this situation. It made for a really cool moment. It also adds a little bit more to the peril of Primal flying up to do battle with Megatron in the Nemesis. There is a great gag scene here where they need a cable to make the last connection in the Ark, and Black Arachnia steals Rat Trap's whip tail, and after being called an emasculating fembot, she takes her claw and clips the end off the tail, which horrifies Silverbolt. Oh, that's a joke for a kids show. Oh, you can tell they knew they weren't getting any more episodes after this if they went there. We finally had someone correct the pronunciation on Teletran, by the way, which I also thought was a good little bit at the end. But no, like it genuinely feels hopeless until Dinobot 2 comes to the aid and provides the location of the Autobot shuttle. Don't know how he knows it. Don't know how he knows there's an Autobot shuttle there. I'm assuming the Nemesis scanners can just pick it up. But that's basically the filler for Megatron, while Megatron and Optimus are duking it out one last time. And like, I love the fact that that Optimus just like Megatron was expecting the speech. Megatron was expecting the big hero speech, and he didn't get it. He got punched in the mouth instead, which is it's surprisingly a one-sided battle. It seems like even with an Autobot powered transmetal form, it doesn't stand up to a Transmetal 2. Megatron does quite a bit of damage to Primal here, to the point where it does feel kind of one-sided, like strangely one-sided. If we really break this down, Optimus Primal never defeated Megatron. He didn't defeat Megatron in this episode. Here's what defeated Megatron. Dinobot 2, sending the scanner information to the Maximals, and Rhinox piloting an Autobot shuttle directly into Megatron's face, causing the Nemesis to crash and disabling Megatron so they could capture him. So Optimus Primal, the main hero of the show, basically, like, all he did was really serve to be a distraction. And it's interesting because it's also kind of consistent, because the first time these, like, Megatron and Optimus did battle in their final forms, Optimus lost there too. It took the rest of the Maximals bailing him out to get Megatron to leave. So it's weird. It's weird. Like for the entirety of this season, it always felt like they found ways of writing Primal out because he was too powerful to explain and too powerful to balance with the rest of the Predacon cast. However, when they introduced Megatron, who's even stronger than that. I don't know. It's not the usual choice. It's satisfying because it kind of takes everyone to make this happen, but so it's ultimately it's a satisfying conclusion. I mean, I do like it, and the idea of Rhinox defeating Megatron adds some irony to the next series. Really, I don't know. I kind of would have liked for Primal to get the final shot in, or the final win, but you know what? It's different than the norm. I will take it. What other little bits, because this is the last time I actually get to talk this series, at least in this format. They mentioned Grid 3H, which was a reference to 3H Productions. Okay, so good little pull there. Let's see. I'm reading through my script. I'm reading through my, they were quoting the Covenant during the entire battle, too, which I do think added a little bit of gravity to what was going on. Oh yeah, the final scene. So last episode, Waspinator actually finally put his foot down against how badly he's treated as a Predacon and decided, you know what, I'm sick of this. Finally stood up for himself, right? In here, he gets the final scene where the Arthropoids are now worshiping Waspinator. He's got his own throne. They're fanning him with palm fronds. He's got a little coconut drink in his hand. And Waspinator is happy at last. Gee, I sure hope a sequel series doesn't ruin the entire thing for him. So, that is the Nemesis Part 2. I mean, considering they didn't get to go with their original plans, considering they had to throw something together, and considering there's an episode missing that would have added a little bit of gravity to something that was happening in this, and a little bit of explanation that happened, I would still call it a masterful finale. They had a lot to wrap up and a lot to cover, and I think they did a pretty good job of it. And the Nemesis with Megatron was such a good threat. And the conclusion is very left field. I mean, it is overall just a really fantastic ending to the show itself, and still probably ranks as my favorite Transformers series. But then again, with these episode reviews, I get to rewatch a lot of these Transformer shows for you, tell you my opinions episode by episode, and sometimes I notice a lot that I didn't notice before, and sometimes I get to discover that some series aren't the way I remember them. So who knows, if we keep doing these episode reviews, we might have a lot more to talk about, and maybe there is another series that I would actually say is better than Beast Wars. But thanks to you and Patreon support, we might find that out. I am already working on Beast Machines. They'll be handled a lot differently and hopefully come out a lot faster than these and be more interesting to watch. And we got Transformers Prime Season 1 covered. If you want to see more, please consider pitching into my Patreon campaign. The higher it goes and the longer it stays up there, the more series we will include, the more seasons we will cover. So that is the mission. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your patience with this particular series. I know I had stop to prevent burnout. We're not planning that for the next one. Beast Machines is going to be a long slog to get through all of it all at once. And I do mean that. So I hope you stay tuned, and I hope you go watching there. But if you're in it for the Beast Wars reviews, I hope you enjoyed it all. And I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.